Whenever a prospect tells you that the price of your product or services are on the high side, the price of your product or services are too high, two things usually come to play here. One, there is a miscommunication on the perceived value of your product or services, and so the client does not see the rationale as to why they should pay you such amount of money for a particular product or services. Okay, and number two, it could be a budget situation.
The cost of fuel has gone up. Food and other prices have followed it. Households and businesses struggling. Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there's not.
Chai!
Either way, this is going to be an objection as to why you should close your sales. This won't allow you to close sale if you cannot handle it. And so today's content is addressed to this particular objection because it's one of the objections we find or face as vendors. And so how do you break this objection so that you can close sales? In today's content, we are going to address this, and if this is a content you appreciate and would like to see things like this still coming up, then this is a great time for you to subscribe to this channel so that you would not miss a single content with regards to sales or how to master the act of closing deals. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't always see this as an objection, but rather as an opportunity. And this is a time for you to reevaluate the price of your product and services. If clients are complaining about this, it is worth listening to. Now, if you realize that the price of your product and services are worth it, then that is it. Understand that not everybody are going to subscribe to your services or patronize your products. Okay? Any client that wants to buy will buy. Whoever will not want to buy will not buy, even if you offer him everlasting life.
Wow.
You see, the first mistake people make is whenever someone objects to your price of your product and services, you go into panic mode and you begin to want to justify your price or begin to sell value immediately. That would be a mistake. What you need to do at this point in time is to stay calm, remain calm, because the goal is that you shouldn't waste your time on a client who is not, or a prospect who is not going to subscribe to your services or your product. So what are you supposed to do first? After you have reevaluated that the price of your product or service is fine, is okay, what you need to do is be very forward with your client or prospect. Ask him or her how important this particular product or services is to her. By the time you ask and find out how important this product or services is to the person, you will understand, one, if the person is someone who is after quality, if the product he's after is quality or quantity, if the service he or she is after is really that important to him in it. So if you find this out, you realize that you're going to save yourself time. Time is money, yeah? So that is the first thing you need to do. Calm down and find out how important this product or services is to the person. Like I said, eventually you're going to sell the value of your product or service to the person, but that's not what you should rush doing first. You need to find out how important it is, yeah? So now that you have done so, we need to progress. Progress, as we are saying now, will now be for you to, after finding out how important this product or services to the client, you begin to sell the value of your product or services to the person. Remember, two things could have been the reason, because it's from that question you will now realize if it's a budget problem, you're going to handle it differently. If it is a problem related to miscommunication on the perceived value of your product and services, because you know how the worth of your product or services is, but your prospect might not know or see it the same way you see. So the perceived value will not be different. It is your job to level how your clients or prospect view the product or services you're offering. So this is when you begin to sell the value of your product. An example of how you can sell the value of your product to your prospect is this. Let's take laptop for instance. Everybody know what a laptop is, yeah? And so maybe you tell your client that this particular laptop is $1,000, and the perception he has about this laptop is that it is supposed to be a laptop of, let's say, $500 or maximum $800, and so he doesn't see the reason why he or she should pay $1,000 for that laptop. Now it is your job to pitch the perceived or your known value, okay, of that laptop to the prospect. Now you begin to explain to him that this laptop you're seeing, okay, there's a core issue, there is a RAM issue, there is a graphic card issue. By the time you explain all these factors to the prospect, you now help him to understand those are features rather, okay. So now you tell him how this feature affects the pricing with regards to the value you're trying to tell him now, because you know that if you have a laptop with a dedicated graphic card, it means you'll be able to edit high content videos and export them seamlessly. You understand? But a laptop that doesn't have a dedicated graphic card will not be able to do so, and that is why you're giving him this laptop at this price. The RAM also determines how fast or capable the laptop is going to handle activities simultaneously, and that is why the laptop is this price. So you're selling value. You're telling him what he's going to accomplish if he buys this laptop with a higher RAM as opposed to the one he's supposed to buy at a cheaper price. Yeah, so this is you selling value to the prospect. Now you're bringing him up to understand the perception of the value of that product, so the client or prospect will now begin to see the value of that laptop the same way you see it. So for the fact that he saw his friend or family bought a laptop for $800 doesn't mean he has to buy your own for $800. Nobody should be doing a losing business. Any business that you're going and you're losing, that's not a business, an activity you're running. So you're not here to run a losing business. Whoever is going to buy is going to buy. Whoever is not going to buy won't buy. So now that you have explained why you are charging this amount for this particular laptop, the client has come to the realization, wow, okay, this is why I was charged this amount of money, and this is what I'm going to gain if I buy a laptop that costs $1,000 a year. At this point in time, the client will have no objection. If he was a willing client or prospect, he's gonna buy. That is for product related niche. Now how about service related niche? After you have realized how important this service is to your client, let's say you're running a coaching course, and then you tell your client prospect comes, I've not been able to make sales, customers are not forthcoming, nobody's walking through my door, and you ask the person, how important is this to you? How much do you think you're going to lose if you do not buy my course? My course is $1,000, but he is telling you that it's too much to pay. You know your course is worth it because you know how much it's going to make him in the long run, but he doesn't see that yet. So you ask him, how much do you think you're going to lose if you don't take on this course? Now consider this time to this time, how much you're losing for not making sales. Try to explain to him that there are people in his or her niche who are racking in the money, who are making this money, and so for him or her not taking your course, this is what you're losing. So the clients will now begin to understand with you that this is why I need to pay this money. In fact, you need to begin to show social proof. XYZ did this with me and this is the result. So by the time you do all this, the prospect, believe me, is not going to object to that price. A willing prospect will pay. What if budget was the problem this time around? You realize that the budget is a problem why this prospect does not see why he should pay you such amount of money. So okay, you realize it's a budget problem. Let's go back to the laptop sales. Now after you found out that the budget is the problem, of course laptop has different variations, so you could show him other kinds of laptop that he can get for his budget, okay? But you should be very clear on one thing. Explain to him or her the limitation he or she is going to get for going for such kind of laptop, so that at the end of the day they will not see you as a dishonest business person. let him or her understand that if you're going for this particular laptop, which is your budget, this is what you should expect. It's still going to do some jobs for you decently, but you won't be able to get the premium from you buying a laptop that's $1,000. And so for service related businesses, begin to tell him the difference why you're charging $1,000 compared to why he thinks you shouldn't pay that much. Because sometimes you begin to tell him that, okay, we're going to have a one-on-one coaching session with you. If you're having trouble, we're going to hold you, and we're not just going to dump courses for you to go and read or watch videos. We're going to hold you by your hand one-on-one. If there is any problem or situation that happens while you're trying to get to your goal, which is to maximize sales and make profit, okay, we're going to hold you by the hand, show you the ropes, teach you how to go about everything until you could stand by yourself. So by the time you show the differences, that if you pay $1,000, this is what you're going to get. But if you want to still go by your budget, a coaching, one-on-one coaching option is not available. Now you leave the client to begin to think, should I pay this less or should I pay more? Because business is all about risks. The riskier the business, the more profitable it is. So let him understand that. If he doesn't risk to pay that amount of money to get something higher, then he's not ready. Remember, a paying client is going to pay. The one that will not pay will not pay. Even if you offer that person everlasting life, it's not gonna pay. If it's even okay for you, you can find a way to segment the payments, make him pay on installment, and that's fine by you. You can make the prospect to pay on installment. That is another way you can get the person on board if it's budget that is a problem. So understand that you're not the most expensive or least expensive vendor in your niche. These things will always be there. Price variations will always be there. So just do your thing. Anybody that's going to buy is going to buy. Chances are that 90% of the people who are willing to buy after you have gone through the route I'm trying to tell you now, they're going to buy from you. And then the ones that are not going to buy, you're not buy. Okay? It's just that. Again, I would like to advise that you should not sell any product or venture into any service you do not have full information about, because prospects will always come with objection. It is your job to diffuse this objection so that it gets to a point where all they have is excuses and no more objection. At this point in time, you're going to close that sales. Remember, closing a sale is either you bringing in money into your bank account or finding closure as to why a client did not buy or subscribe to your services. Now, if this is a content you appreciate, if you appreciated what I just did now, please like this content, share this content, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because we are going to bring up another sales objection that is stopping you from making sales. Remember, you're going to make sales this year.